Have you ever left a listing appointment absolutely sure that you had the listing only to find out that they chose another agent? Maybe the reason that they chose another agent was because of the pricing conversation. Here is the 3 pricing strategies conversation to ensure that you never lose another listing. Hi, it's Dustin, Oldfather of the Oldfather Group of Sotheby's International Realty and owner of Motto Mortgage Prosperity. Have you ever walked out of a listing thinking for sure that you had it, only to find out later that they selected another agent and you really weren't sure why, and then you went back on the MLS and realized that they priced it higher and that's the reason that they got the listing, even though you were a better agent? Well, here's the 3 pricing strategy that can ensure that you never lose that listing again. All right, so the conversation is this. You know, Mr. Seller, there are 3 pricing strategies. Do you mind if I share with you what they are? Of course, the client's going to say, of course, go ahead. You have an auction or event style pricing strategy, priced slightly above perceived market value, or an aspirational pricing strategy, which would be significantly higher than the perceived market value. Okay, so the first strategy would be an auction or event style pricing strategy. This strategy would be to price slightly below perceived market value, which you're going to be basing off of what an appraiser would value the property at. This strategy works best when you have a property that's in a high demand area. There's going to be lots of competition. Your goal is to get multiple bids, bid it up, take the best one, and get the best terms for yourself. And compressing that timeline as quickly as possible, getting as much cash as possible, and or the best financing terms. The second pricing strategy is to price slightly above perceived market value, which would be based off of how an appraiser would value the property. So the goal here is to price 3, 5, 7% above the listing price so that you have some negotiating room. You're going to have activity on the property and you'll have some ability to negotiate on repairs. In the meantime, you may also push that price point higher than previous sales in the market. Second pricing strategy is most beneficial when you're in a cluster or subdivision where you have a number of sales that are fixing the market at a certain price point, maybe a price per square, but you want to have some negotiating room. You want to be able to push the price a little bit higher than where things have sold before, and you still want to be in the marketplace so that you have activity. The third pricing strategy is an aspirational pricing strategy. So aspirational pricing strategy would be significantly above anything that is sold recently in the market based off of the comparables. This is typical of a discretionary purchase or something that would be on the ultra luxury end. This pricing strategy is great if you have something that is particularly out of the box, unique, has very special characteristics. Perhaps it has some provenance, perhaps it has a history, perhaps there was a celebrity who owned the home. There are some intrinsic factors that make it unique and special, and the pricing needs to be somewhat arbitrary. In this situation, you're going to have to be a little bit more patient, and that's the conversation you need to have with the client. Auction or event style pricing, slightly above perceived market value, or aspirational pricing. When you go through these pricing strategies and you say, Mr. Seller, which one of these do you think is best for you to get you the most money? Well, then the consumer is going to make the choice on where they want to price it versus having a hard line on this is what the value is. The market will only pay you what the market thinks it's worth. The answer to that is if you tell a client that the property is only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it, then the question that they're going to ask is, why do I need you? We've got to be able to bring value to the client and help them to get the most out of their property. And by having that 3 pricing conversation, they're going to be able to select the one that they feel most comfortable with. That way you don't underprice or overprice relative to whatever the demands and needs are for that client and the time that they want to get it sold. So those are the 3 pricing strategies. Implement that script and I promise you, you won't lose another listing.